And he just ran zealots into his base while building cannons. And well, then in game 4, even though he's on the ropes, he proxies the Stargate, somehow gets all the workers, and Showtime is like, well, he wouldn't ever do that again in game 5, right? Well, obviously, Parting did. It was a little bit of a clown fiesta of a series, but it did have its moments. Let's hope that this PvP series is just going to be as good and at least fun and entertaining. Over here, it's definitely not stats production. He's also eliminated 7 hours ago. In the left top side, we are looking at the main base of our Korean Protoss player. I believe this is his very first game on stage, so give him a warm welcome. It is Trap.
And down here in the bottom right, the most handsome pro gamer of them all, a man with a rich history here at Homestory Cup. Put your hands together for Zest.
All right, Kev, talk to us. You really wanted this series. Why did you want to have this series so badly? Other than the fact that it's PvP and there's been a lot of non-Protoss matchups, don't tell me that.
I don't know, I just like watching people proxy stuff. It always makes me extremely happy, and as we can see, Trap already starting with a proxy robo, which is absolutely one of my favorite builds. I just love rallying immortals into my opponent's natural and taking ladder points, and Trap is going to do it here against Zest.
You know, I know you didn't see the match, but I just want to tell you about it. I think the highlight of the Showtime versus Parting series was Acropolis, where Parting opened up with the proxy robo. It got scouted, but quite late. He made an Immortal and a War Prism, so he pretended like he was really going all out, but he wasn't. He immediately builds his target in his own base, and then the most random Oracle ever flies in after the initial... Yeah, I know you're laughing already, but that's how it went. And it killed 4 workers, but then he misclicked, and he just sent it over 4 Stalkers, even though it was full on HP, and there was no counter to it at all. But the timing of it was so weird after the Immortal, after the War Prism, that I actually was like, this is really good. It's a fun match. You will enjoy that one.
You know, people make fun of that, but that's what you learn when you're trolling NA ladder route and you stream 8 hours a day as Parting, man. That's an NA Oracle, we call that. If the Oracle makes no sense, the timing it's coming in, that's an NA Oracle, right?
Yeah, we have a word for that as well. Goblin, my good boy from Croatia, calls it the negative IQ Oracle. And I really like that as well.
Oh, man, that's so sick.
All right, Kev, tell me, what do you see?
Well, the way I see is an Immortal walking across the map. He's going to walk into some Phoenixes. And actually, Stargate and especially Phoenix openers are really good against almost every single proxy, except perhaps DT openers.
Yep.
So I think this, just build order-wise, this looks good for Zest. And he's also adding a 3rd gate. So he wants to basically stop the initial push and then counterattack.
I am totally with you, man. This is actually the very first time that I see the Phoenix gateway all in, right? Because with the proxy gate, this absolutely becomes a very big commitment. Now, I think the best thing that Trap can do is actually not commit. Just don't go for it, because you're not going to bust a Phoenix player that's playing Phoenix of 1 base. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I agree, but I believe that Trap has different plans. He keeps walking in more and more Stalkers, has a full wall with that pylon at home. And as long as Zest just controls these Phoenix as well, he should not really be able to die, I believe.
No, don't forget that the Sentry and Adepts obviously take double damage from these Phoenixes, so that's really going to hurt. I do like that Zest is still just shocking around. I wouldn't mind a single defensive shield battery, because don't forget Zest doesn't have an Immortal. He's not playing this with a Robo, so it's pure gateway. The Phoenix count is high, but this already is kind of bad, right? You're taking quite a bit of damage on the Phoenixes. He's been building Phoenix non-stop. He's going to go for the Prism, and he gets it. Lives the Immortal instead. Moving a couple of Phoenixes to the left. Good focus fire there by Trap, but this Immortal is still going to go down. I would say lift the Adepts. I mean,
yeah, he's going to lift those light units to get that bonus damage, but it's going to be enough as it is, I think. The Phoenix focus fire is pretty good from Trap.
Very good, actually. Like, that's not easy at all, but I think he really wants to get the one on the left as well, but Zest has picked up on what is happening. Still, that was a massive victory for Zest. He shouldn't get too overeager here, though, because it's a lot easier for Trap to reinforce here than it is for Zest.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is
back.
very dangerous.
He's got to go back.
Zest should really go back. There's no need for... Okay, he's got some reinforcements showing up as well. The other Stalkers are not done yet, so he shows up just on the right moment. He gets 2 Stalker kills very quickly.
Yeah, the Adepts are going to add a tiny bit of DPS. It looks like he's just got the numbers. The Phoenix coming in the tail end, and he barely has enough Stalkers to just crush that one.
The Phoenix gateway all in. Defensively as well, it's just such an excellent opening that I think you can absolutely punish greedy expense with it. But if they plan on 1 base all in you, you're like, alrighty, sir, thank you very much. There's literally no better scenario for the Phoenix to shine than that one.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I was a little bit surprised that we didn't see a battery on the low ground, because it can get very tricky if you're defending the high ground. You might lose a gateway, and with the if you get contained with a sentry, it might suck if he expands behind it. So We just saw Zest kind of be like, all right, I think I can out-micro him. I don't need no battery help.
Yeah.
I definitely would have liked seeing one battery there, but I mean, he jumped on top of the prism immediately. He gets it, and from that point on, it becomes very difficult for Trap to reinforce.
He had
As
5
a far-
Phoenix as well. Eh?
It's mad.
It's
Yeah.
very fast.
Sick Phoenix count. Do you think he still proxies the gateway on the other side if it's not proxy robo? Because I think it was like he'd spotted that it was no expand and it was a pylon wall off, I think, before he committed to the proxy gateway for the counter attack.
It's very difficult to.
Because I feel like that's like a bit of a crazy all in. The Phoenix like 3-4 gate all in is like a bit of a wild one to just be like, oh, I'm just going to do this. I think it's like proxy robo is so popular in the meta right now.
Yeah.
So I think it's like kind of a counter. Once you confirm they're doing that one base prism stalker shenanigans, yeah.
I mean, it's very good defensively, but I obviously think as an all-in, it's quite good as well. I mean, my boy Goblin did bust it out in Nation-wise, and I forgot with Protoss who he beat, but it was a very high-level top Protoss as well. And he's just like, I heard you say that you haven't seen this build in a while, so I thought I'd bring it out. And I really feel that it often has a high win record. You can do it over and over again, because it's like Kev said, if you go up against quick DTs, you're playing without a robo, you're building Phoenixes, you're going to have a pretty bad time if you don't scout it immediately. But against expand builds, I think it's quite powerful. But if they stay on one base, I mean, it's great against Oracles, it's great against robots, it's great against pure gateway as well.
Yeah, it really is. It's a very good defensive builder against a lot of things. So. Well done there by Zest. Realizing something was proxy, just gets the Stargate, gets some Phoenixes out.
That's pretty
Love
adorable,
these
by the way. We just had Juanita walk up to us and basically give us a little private show. That's all I will say. All right, we're getting ready to hop into game 2 of this PvP series. A lot of the PvP so far today have been short and explosive. Let's see if we get some late game scenarios as well. On the right bottom side, we look at the main base of the man who's down 0-1. It is Trap.
And at the top left, it is the man with the Phoenixes. It is Zest.
I think Zest is really smart with how he plays the meta in this matchup. So I'm really curious to see what he brings out in the next couple of games, because I feel like sometimes a lot of players just get stuck in there like, oh, you know, we're all proxying robos, or we're all just kind of proxying Stargates. And I feel like Zest is very adaptive to whatever the PvP meta is that at that moment.
It's a very interesting scout timing. This was after the gateway, I believe. It's not even a gas scout, so that's very early. And this is just to spot a probe. Maybe he'll proxy something, but for now, if a probe moves to the right side, he would be able to see it, which is really cool. He kind of eliminates the ability of Trap to proxy anything on the right side with this, and now he'll go in to scout. I actually never seen this before.
Mapo, the score is wrong. Zest is up 1-0.
Well done, mate. Do you guys know, by the way, that our dedicated observer Mapu, who normally we just can't get him, you know, rid from that PC, he's just always there. He's stuck behind it. He came up to me and he's like, Kev? I was like, yeah. He's like, I'd like to cast a series later today. I'm like, all right, my man. So if you guys suddenly notice a heavy increase in quality of observing, it will be me taking the mouse and Mapu. Oh, okay, well done, Mapu. So yeah, Mapu is going to make a little appearance on the couch today later as well, and that's going to be a lot of fun.
That's an interesting place to proxy a robo.
Hero tried this at BlizzCon behind the natural.
Scouted immediately, right?
Yeah, got scouted. I mean, you always look for the probe there, so you've got to make sure you let your probe die or let them see which direction it goes so they don't look for the probe. It's like very important to make sure you let your probe die. So Zest is purposely saying, hey, look, here's my probe. You couldn't be hiding behind the natural, so yeah, maybe he's going to...
And the follow-up, obviously, is to keep him busy with the adepts, right?
Yeah,
It's like, okay, first your priority is taking care of my probe, and now look at this, I've got 2 adepts. If I were you, I'd make sure that these adepts don't enter the main base.
Oh my
This
God.
is really the one thing you should be looking for.
Oh, this is so dirty. I love it. Oh, Trap is going to be so mad.
Yeah, he's going to get
no
flanked
idea.
by a single Immortal. It's going to be so sick. It's like, where did this guy come from?
Big Daddy Immortal is going to come up from the right side, and 4 Stalkers are suddenly going to have a very, very bad time. There is no shield battery here yet. Oh my God, he's getting the clone as well.
Man.
Here we go, out of nowhere. You recall? Careful.
I guess you walk to the left and recall.
Yeah, he wants to fight. With the sentries as well. Where are the adepts, by the way? Shooting something?
Yeah, he might actually.
Yeah, you can't lose that, dude. You got to be careful.
It's going to kill at least 3 Stalkers, but it will go down. But that's an Immortal for 3
All the
Stalkers.
sentry energy's gone as well. So
Exactly.
those sentries are dead weights right now. The adept
Oh,
focus
no
to
wall
finish
off.
it off, man.
No wall off. I mean, the Adepts at least are going to finish up, right? They can go on top of the other sentry as well. The War Prism shows up to maybe save these Adepts. Well done by Zest. Those are some very slick moves.
Dude, Zest is best. It's proxy robo in your natural, and that's the dirtiest trick in the book. Trap has got to be so annoyed at that, man. This is such a silly thing to get caught out by, but very good planning by Zest.
Yep, Zest is not done yet, even though the batteries are up. So you want to be a little bit more careful now, but the Immortal is out. The Immortal on the side of Trap has just been started. Well, it's almost out. This is. Whoa, Force Field lands as well. And yes, batteries are good, but they're not going to be good forever, especially not with this Immortal showing up. I think Zest is just going to run away with this game as well, guys.
This game's been absolutely mad. Trap's gonna be extremely pissed. It also feels a bit like Zest is like, you know what? I can show you how to proxy Immortal. Good attempt last game. I'll show you how it's done by real man. Trap played it so safe, built it so far. Zest just puts it in the natural and takes game number 2, putting him on a very quick 2-0. This is a 6-minute series.
Yeah, I mean, I do love that we just had a TVT that took roughly 2.5 hours. And everyone's like, are we behind schedule? And Zest is like, hold my beer. Don't worry, guys. Like, I'll get us back on schedule. Yeah, you know, if you proxy, you may as well do it with a little bit of heart and commitment.
Yeah.
Why hide it? You know, like just build it in the natural. Why not?
That's actually so funny as well, because it's like if you don't get your probes killed, everyone looks behind the natural, right?
Yeah.
It's like the first thing the gateway unit
that
does.
should be the probe that normally looks to see if there's an expand or not.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm trying to remember what happened in BlizzCon, but I feel like Hero just like ran away with his probe and didn't show it, and it was like the other player just came down and was like, oh, there's a robo here, and they just like killed it, you know. It's kind of weird. As Trap, are you kicking yourself for that, or are you like?
Oh, absolutely.
Like.
You feel so silly, I think.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, I can't believe this clown did this. It's like you lose all your respect for your opponent and you just lost the game. It's like, oh my god, this day can't get any worse.
Like, I'm with you as well, Pick. Like, obviously, I think the way that Zest sold his build here is fantastic. But you can still always just take a little sneak peek, see if there's a pylon. You know, even if you don't expect that to be a robo, just see if there's a pylon. Because people do often build random pylons on those locations as well, and then they suddenly warp into Adepts when you're not expecting it.
Yeah,
anymore.
exactly.
That's kind of, when you open Sentry Stalker like this, that's kind of the job of the first Stalker. You know,
Yeah.
you go
Yeah.
Sentry Stalker, you see no second pylon in the main base, you're like, you know what, I'll check around. You check the close locations with that, and then perhaps when you get the hallucination, you check a bit further away one. So you kind of eliminate everything. But I guess he was like, there's no way he puts it there, right?
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
So
You want to get out and intercept the Adepts, right?
Quick question for you. Let's say he spots the Immortal the first time and shoots with his Stalkers. Instead of trying to take the fight there, he immediately runs all Stalkers towards the left side and he recalls them to the main. You think that's the better play?
I actually think what he did was fine, but what he should have done, he should have popped the shield immediately, because now he took 2 or 3 shots on the first Stalker, and then he was like, wait, I think I can pop the shield with the sentries, and then he right-clicked the Immortal after. If he pops the shields immediately, and then Zest stays around with the Immortal, I mean, all of Zest's units were actually kind of out of position.
They were far away.
Yeah, Zest was like, oh damn, this Immortal is way faster at my opponent's bait than it normally is, because I built it in his natural, so...
I mean, can you just cancel the pylon on the low ground and just pull up to your high ground? Or is it just like there's going to be an Immortal and a Prism, you're going to lose both gateways?
You're going to lose both. Like, it probably is the better play because now he just died.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you're going to be down like 2-3 robo units and he's just going to contain you. This was 2-gate as well, right? So he can just put a Nexus behind it and contain you with sentries. And whenever you move out, he'll just go in with the Prism, 2 Immortals. You lose all your eco while you're moving out. He recalls. 7 batteries at home. Just like prolonging your death, basically.
Exactly. All right, well, we are going to be launching in the next game. Of course, we want to introduce these players. You may have a short memory. You may not remember that we've already introed them twice before in this series. Let's go again. Over here on the left-hand side, he's got to win 3 in a row. Many say he's the most consistent Protoss in the last year. Let's see what he can show us. He is Trap.
And in the bottom right, it is the man who just put a robo in the other guy's natural. It is Zest. He's proxying again. Actually, this build is extremely interesting what Trap is doing. This is a 1-gate expand, which is really only viable on Disco Bloodbath and Thunderbird, I believe. We saw it a couple of times in GSL versus the World. I think also in the Super Tournament, Classic pulled it out. I believe against Trap on Thunderbird. So Trap should be rather familiar with it. Back then, Trap did lose against it. Now, there's a couple of follow-ups. It's possible he opens Sentry, then scouts with the hallucination what he's up against. It's also possible, there we go. So Sentry, and ideally you want to get a Stargate after this. That's kind of the play you want to do, because Proxy Oracle is very common on this map, and also common as a response against 1-gate expand. Then you can get Phoenixes, and you have a faster expand. So that's normally the plan. So yeah, this is pretty much what Classic played. The first time I ever saw it was Classic in, I think, Super Tournament.
So it's normally Stargate and then second gateway very quickly after that, or
Yeah.
you still need the second gateway, right? Or
Yeah, you're
just
gonna
get
need a
outgunned?
couple units. The last time I saw this build was actually in Nation Wars just last week. And I think it was Hellraiser against Has, or was Skillers against Has. And Skillers made 4 Stalkers, ran to the other side of the map, unpowered everything and won. I was like, all right, Has, maybe go back to what you're best at. Whoa, okay, a Void Ray and a Gateway. What are the odds he goes Void Ray at depth?
Dude, this is cool.
Not very high anymore after these
After the 2 Stalkers.
I think he definitely gets a fleet beacon on one base and gets Flux Veins, right? This is the play, right, Kev?
That seems a little expensive, but I'd love to see it. And what do you do here if you're trapped, by the way, with Stargate against Void Rays? Like, I would make Phoenixes, but do you just make your own defensive Void Ray, you think?
Yeah, I think you get own defensive Void Rays and you'll just be able to out-battery your opponent, right? I'm not a massive fan of the full wall. It really doesn't allow for you to deny any batteries on the low ground.
He's probably going to get shield batteries here
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well, though, Zest that is.
Yeah, of course, but eventually he should just have less money, right? And this Stargate is so far away that it's actually a little bit painful for him. Like, the first Void Ray will be earlier, of course, but I think Trap should be okay-ish.
But he's going to lose pylons, that's inevitable.
Yeah.
Like, the first pylon is going to go down very quickly, and that second pylon suddenly feels like a sitting duck over there as well. The Void Ray did have to cancel Prismatic Alignment for a second there. Stalker's trying to be as annoying as possible, hoping to buy some time until the extra shield batteries finish up. At this point, Trap realizes what is happening, and he's like, you know what, if you're building more batteries, I'm going to beat more batteries. And you know what, Kev, you may not like it, but this is what peak performance looks like.
It really is. The problem for Zest here is that eventually he just won't be able to move forward, right? You can't build batteries on the ramp, and also he has less income. So Zest will need to out-micro, especially in these kind of moments where he has one extra Void Ray over his opponent. This is where he needs to do damage.
It's that tiny window where he can technically use Prismatic Alignment twice. Here we go.
You gotta be
Void Ray's gonna
careful,
fire
Trap. You gotta get that Void Ray back.
Oh, he gets one Void Ray, but he's going to lose his own Void Ray as well. The second defensive Void Ray for Trap does show up, though. The Stalker count is quite a bit higher on the side of Zest. Can he get the Void Ray, though? The answer is no, he cannot. So in the end, we traded Void Rays.
Traded Void Ray, but Zest is completely out of battery energy. We see Trap has a very healthy battery count, I believe. Also some energy still alive.
But I feel like at this point, Zest's army is big enough to almost one-shot everything. And I think that is something that he could do as well. He's going to try to maybe on power. But there's a shield battery there as well, so that's not going to be the play. But if Trap makes one little micro mistake and that Void Ray goes too far forward, look at the amount of Stalkers on the side of Zest.
Yeah, it gets awkward with your positioning. You can see Trap's kind of spreading his units on both sides of the wall off, trying to get them in a bit of an arc, but right now it's 10 Stalkers, about to be 12 versus just 5 Stalkers. The Zealots aren't going to do a lot here. Yeah, they've got good damage, but it's only if Zest actually pushes up the ramp.
I mean, Zest needs to push up the ramp. He stopped Void Ray production basically completely. So right now we actually have Trap with a Void Ray lead. This means that this is a complete Hail Mary play.
The focus fire, he's got to get it back. Oh, it goes down.
Wow, this is actually so sick for Zest. Obviously, a couple of these Stalkers are taking a lot of damage from the Zealots, but he was able to get both Void Rays. He's going to end up losing his own Void Ray. There's still 2 shield batteries on the left side with a lot of energy, and another Void Ray shows up. That started off very promising for Zest, but now things are starting to look very dicey.
Yeah, that Void Ray just dished out a lot of damage. And, I mean, you've still got the Zealot there tanking, 3 Stalkers in the back. Good pullback on the Void Ray. And that's it. I mean, the Zealot means those Stalkers are going to start taking a lot of damage. Good micro here by Trap. The shield battery is just a bit too much, and those Stalkers get surrounded by the probes. That was
good.
Dude, that was so close.
Batteries are very good. Trap will get a point on the board and keep his hopes and dreams alive of advancing to the upper bracket round 2. Because once again, guys, this is of course an upper bracket match. So the loser of this match will not be eliminated. But it's a lot easier to advance here because then suddenly you put yourself so deep into the tournament already.
Yeah, I mean, if you can win, like, even just 1 or 2 rounds, right, in the upper bracket. You get in the lower bracket on, like, the, second lower bracket round, you've got to play so many matches. Like, it is a heroic effort if you actually make it through to the grand finals from the very start of the lower bracket. That's a sick story if you do that. You got to beat so many good players.
Well, there's a couple of them that maybe have some potential to go far, but I'm with you on this one, Pig. I think the real way to do it here is stay strong in that upper bracket, win 1 or 2 matches, and then suddenly you find yourself in the top 3 of this tournament already, right? Because both these players are 2 series away from, or like winning the next 2 series away from being in the top 3 guaranteed of this tournament. That'd be massive. However, if you lose here, then suddenly you got to win 5 rounds or something to be top 3 in this tournament. So it does make a really massive difference.
And the winner's going to play, of course, the winner of Cure versus Raynor. So that's a pretty tough match. I mean, there's no easy matches left, right, in this upper bracket. Everything is super sick. Yeah.
The next match on this stage, by the way, is going to be Serral versus Sue. So I think that's going to be really exciting as well. Those two are building up quite a bit of history. Of course, IEM Katowice, you know, Sue kind of struck back nation-wise last year. Sue got a couple of victories over Serral, but then Serral also got his revenge on GSL vs. The World, I believe it was. He beat him
Beat him at BlizzCon.
I know, that was the second one. There was one before. The Homestory Cup, actually. The last Homestory Cup, Homestory 19. That's where Serral got a very clean victory over Sue. It's really funny. Artos is like, the moment we saw the bracket last night, he's like, oh, so Sue is finally going to win the series that he was supposed to win against Serral. I was like, oh my god, damn, not again. He's like, we both know that he won that series at BlizzCon. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, that was a 2-1 for Sue, okay? I'm like, no, Dan, that wasn't 3-0. It ended 3-0, and that's why one player was eliminated. I think that's going to be really fun. I think that's his EVZ series to be really excited over. Take a look as soon as these nerds are ready for game 4. I'm going to move on. That was a good hold by Trap in the end. I was a little bit worried when I saw all the stalkers and he started to one-shot those Void Rays. I was like, this could be it. But then those extra 2 batteries on the left side. I mean, batteries are so freaking good in small army scenarios. It's ridiculous what shield batteries can do for you.
Yeah, the problem there is that the moment you can't one-shot or even 2-shot units anymore, it's like you're not going to get anything. Like it will take so extremely long. Like you'd have 9 stalkers against 5. Like, good luck, buddy. You're not going to kill anything.
The sad thing is that you always feel like you're getting closer to killing your units, but because they are actually dealing damage to your unit, you're only losing DPS, and you're like, almost. Almost, like, I should back off, right? No, I'm going to get it, and then gets healed up again. You're like, no! Like, damn it, why battery's so good?
All right, Mapu is chomping at the bit right now. He's literally saying he needs me to introduce these players down here in the bottom right-hand side. A Thunderbird.
Come on, Vic. A little bit of growling. I know there's no roaches here, but...
Not making any roaches, but he's going to give us an awesome PvP. We want to see a game 5 in the bottom right. It's Trap.
Ah.
I need some more ZVZ today, man.
And in the top left, there is the man who tried to bust, but it didn't work. Zest.
If you guys wonder what that was all about, for a couple of years we have been teasing our good friend Piggy a little bit, but some of the sounds he has made in the past while he's casting. And at one point, Pig, could you describe your experience? You were sitting at home in Australia, right? And I know you've watched plenty of Homestory Cups in the past.
This is my first Homestory I've ever made it out to.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I always get to tune in, and it's a terrible time zone for me back home, right? Broadcast starts about 9 o'clock at night, finishes at like 7 a.m. in the morning, right? And every single time I tune in, if it's for like 2 minutes, I cannot tune in without hearing one of you guys going, oh, roaches. I'm like, is this their impersonation of me? Are they doing it again? I'll tune the stream in the next day, they're like, roaches. And then you guys are all just moaning into the microphone. I'm like, guys, come on, you can't just make it. I'm watching maybe half an hour of a day sometimes. I go back through the VOD and I'm like, oh my god, they're making fun of me for like 6 hours of this broadcast. Is this what happens when I don't come to events?
Well, we do it out of love, Piggy. We did it out of love. All right, we've got the Robo on the side of Trap. We've got the Stargate on the side of Zest. A little bit similar to what we saw earlier on Acropolis. But now,
Oracle.
Zest is going Oracle. So the setup could have been the same, but it's not going to play out the same. Trap is going to go with the Robo Immortal immediately.
So now we need to see if he builds a battery or
harder.
not. That's actually pretty big. If he doesn't build it, okay, there we go. Fantastic. I really like Trap. He always is very consistent with this kind of stuff.
Hey, isn't that a little too far on the left? The Oracle can easily pick off probes on the right upside.
I really hate that shield battery placement.
That makes no sense.
I think it's because he doesn't want to interrupt his mining. I actually think that's why he's doing it, and I think it's like you lose probes so much
Oh,
more to
absolutely, no.
harassment. I don't think it's worth it. I think you lose so little mining from having a slight detour if that's in the middle of your mineral line.
Those batteries on the right, oh, excuse me, the probes on the right top side, they are completely exposed. They'll get picked
Yeah.
off immediately.
The gas and 2 mineral patches are both almost completely exposed. The Oracle's going to come in, and he's just going to go straight for a stasis.
Well, I would have liked to see him actually go for Pulsar Beam.
Good response here by Trap so far. Zest not finding
Zest?
damage.
Is he worried at home? Is the Immortal already attacking him, or what's happening? Okay.
All right.
Second Oracle is also on the way for Zest as well as a Robo, so
That's a quick robo, right? He
Yep.
should be pretty safe.
That's a very quick robo. Well, we're going to get the second Oracle out as well. It seems like Trap is almost looking for it at this point, and he will most likely find it, but he's going to find it a little bit too late. Another big question is, how many Stalkers does Trap have at his main base? Because a battery may be able to protect the left side of his mineral patches. He's got 3 Stalkers, but that could still end up quite painful.
I guess the play from here is you definitely want to expand as Trap, right, Kevin? It's, you know, get out some sentries at home can easily defend any sort of frontal push. I feel like as long as there's an Immortal out on that high ground, Zest should be pretty safe here, right? Is Trap, you just get a Nexus down?
yeah, I think Trap gets a Nexus, 2 sentries, and tries for a contain. As there's
Yeah.
no Phoenixes, it's going to be a little bit difficult to break a contain, but the only problem is that Zest already has 1 Immortal out, second one coming as well.
And an extra gateway, mate.
Okay, he's gonna push.
Yeah. This is going to get awkward, because now Trap is kind of making a sort of move out that he doesn't really have to against the 1-base Zest. And I really hope for Trap that he doesn't get carried away here, because there's no need for him to get carried away here. He is losing a couple of probes as well, did quite a bit of damage to one of these Oracles, but still good defense, I'd say. They're only losing 2 probes is not a big deal. But for Trap, it's very important that he doesn't bleed out too many units here. And now Trap is actually getting his own Stargate, guys.
I kind of like that, because if you're in a Robo versus Robo scenario, the things that you have to be afraid of are usually 2 Immortals in a Prism or something like a Disruptor switch. On top of that, if you get 1 or 2 Phoenixes, these Oracles are completely useless. So
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of this tech switch. I don't even mind him delaying his Nexus for that at all. He's playing very careful. He's definitely not overstepping here. He's just happy to get his own tech up, and it's like, you know what?
I'd like to see this finish up. There was a pylon there on the left top side, but I think if you can sacrifice 2 adapts for like 3 probes, even in this phase in the game, I'm okay with it.
Oh, gonna try and slide the Immortals out the left-hand side here.
He's gonna set up a flank maybe, or is he gonna harass?
I think he might just go for some harass. This is kind of scary though, because there's a Prism with this army of Trap. So if he
Yeah.
realizes that there's 2 Immortals
Well,
missing,
there's not just the Prism, yeah, there's the Observer there as well, right? So he's gonna get a good sneak peek into the main base.
you could just go in theory. It's still scary to do, obviously. Now he definitely could go in. I mean, you have 2 Immortals against no Immortals. There's a single battery, that's cool. And yeah, here we
There's
go.
plenty of force fields, and that's gonna make it a little bit awkward, right? I know, of course, there is a Prism, but then imagine that Prism takes a little bit too much damage. Things can get awkward very quickly.
We have a Robo on the way for Zest, so he's already countered before his tech even started.
Yeah.
The Robo won't really do too much here, as there's almost 1 Phoenix out already. The second one just finished as well, I believe, or got cancelled. For Adepts trying to shade up. Is he gonna let that finish? Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. He's bringing Prism as well. Ends up losing 1 Adept, but he got 1 Sentry. So Sentry for an Adept is obviously not a bad exchange for Trap.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I wouldn't mind seeing an Expo now from Trap. I wouldn't have minded seeing a bit earlier, but at this point, I mean, he's in such a good spot tech-wise that I feel like staying here without an Expo makes very little sense. I like that he's grabbing the Phoenix with this though. That's cool.
A couple of force fields are going to go down, but obviously we do have War Prisms on both sides here, so this should be alright. This is a very awkward fight from both of them. A Colossus by Zest. So Zest may be spotting that Phoenix is like, I'm absolutely not going to go Disruptor. But this Colossus can kind of function as an icebreaker, right? It can just run forward and break those force fields, and then suddenly he will no longer be contained. Don't forget that Zest still has 2 Oracles, and they've got a lot of energy, by the way, up to this point.
Yeah, I'm starting to become a little bit afraid for Trap here, because he is not aware of the Robo-Bait tech, and even if he is, most of the time you're not going to expect a Colossi, but in the next minute or so, Zest might just walk down the ramp and be like, hello, and yeah, kill him. That's kind of dangerous, because Phoenixes actually don't do a lot of damage. They, especially against Colossus, takes a very long time.
And there's a couple of other air units in the mix as well, right? So the Phoenixes could sometimes split up their target, especially if you move them around. We've got a Prism, we have 2 Oracles. The Phoenixes may go for a couple of probes, but on the other end, Trap is like, maybe I need to save that energy. The Adepts are going to chase this army down. They'll go forward, get a Sentry immediately here. But I think Trap realizes that this is a fight he cannot take.
Definitely, he's starting a Void Ray as well as a response to that Colossus, but I'm not sure how much a single Void Ray will help. I mean, there's plenty of Stalkers on
This
the map.
depth chasing is so good. The Oracles even turn on their lasers. He's actually catching so many units just on the retreat.
Yep, and don't forget, he still has that Colossus here, so force fields are not going to keep Trap safe here. Maybe he has a couple of defensive batteries. It seems like the answer is no. So that Void Ray needs to pull off a miracle here. We do have 2 Immortals. If they can get the right shots off on the Stalkers, on the Colossus, maybe Trap can pull off a hold here. He is obviously the defender. Here we go. Prismatic Alignment has been activated immediately.
Yeah, the Void Ray is overcharging there. The Phoenix going to start to disable as many of these Stalkers as possible, but that Colossus is raining down some big hits. Nice hot pickup there with the Prism. I think probes are going to have to get pulled here. Trap is getting overwhelmed. That Colossus still standing strong. As you said, Roddy, the Phoenix just aren't doing any damage.
No, Colossus have quite a bit of base armor to begin with. The Phoenixes are going to finally try to settle for the War Prism. They will get it, but the Stalker count is still quite good. There is a Void Ray right now, though, putting in some work. That was powered by that shield battery, but eventually the Void Ray will fall as well. And I think that Trap is going to be sent to the lower bracket here by Zest. And Zest is looking mighty fine to make it to the upper bracket semifinals. GG.